Hi, I'm Ross Maynard. Welcome to Measure Your Organization's Carbon Footprint Quickstart Guide. As I write this course, several tornadoes have wrought terrible damage in Kentucky, and Canada has been gripped by devastating floods. In the past year, voracious forest fires have ripped through large parts of Australia and the United States. Madagascar is on the verge of famine caused by climate change. Bangladesh, the Pacific Islands, and many other low-lying areas are at risk of disappearing into the sea. Climate change is real, and it's happening now. Carbon dioxide levels in the atmosphere are at the highest in at least 800,000 years. The significant increase in accumulated heat is driving regional and seasonal temperature extremes, reducing snow cover and sea ice, intensifying heavy rainfall, and changing habitat ranges for plants and animals. Average sea levels have risen around 23 centimetres, that's 8 inches, since 1880, with about 8 centimetres of that gained in the last 25 years. Every year the sea rises another 3.2 millimetres. We can all play a part in helping to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, and a good place to start is to measure the carbon footprint of your organisation. This video will give you the quick start guide to getting started. First, let's quickly cover some terminology. The Greenhouse Gas Protocol provides the most widely used approach to measuring greenhouse gas emissions. There is now an international standard, ISO 14064, based on the Greenhouse Gas Protocol, which allows organisations to have their emissions measurement work formally recognised. If you're aiming for carbon neutrality, then PAS 2060 is the standard you need to look into. Both the Greenhouse Gas Protocol and ISO 14064 categorise emissions into 3 groups, which are called scopes. Scope 1 covers direct emissions from combustion within the organisation. This covers the usage of gas, LPG, oil, or other materials for heating or for operations. Emissions from the vehicles that the organisation operates are also covered under Scope 1, as are emissions from chemical processes and losses of refrigerant gases. Scope 2 covers purchased energy. For most organisations this will be electricity usage, but it also covers purchased heat or steam. Scope 3 covers other indirect sources of emissions, including, for example, the emissions inherent in components and other bought-in goods and services, in business travel, in hire vehicles or staff use of own vehicles, in waste disposal, in the delivery of goods from suppliers and to customers, in construction works commissioned by the organisation, and so on. Scope 3 emissions often make up at least 50% of an organisation's total emissions. When measuring an organisation's impact on climate change, all its emissions are converted into what's called CO2 Equivalent, which has the symbol CO2E. This is because different types of emission have different effects on global warming. Where a tonne of CO2 has a global warming potential of 1, a tonne of methane emitted has a global warming potential of 28, and a tonne of nitrous oxide has a global warming potential of 298. Some fluorocarbon refrigerant gases have global warming potentials in the thousands. So it makes sense to have a common unit of measurement, which is the CO2 equivalent. Around 84% of greenhouse gases by volume emitted by human activity are carbon dioxide. Methane makes up a further 10%, with nitrous oxide 4% and fluorinated gases 2%. Of course, to convert all our energy sources and emissions to carbon dioxide equivalents, we need conversion tables. In the United States, greenhouse gas conversion factors are provided by the Environmental Protection Agency, and the top-level links are shown here. In Canada, there is a greenhouse gas calculator at the link shown, with more detailed tables to download at the second link. In the United Kingdom, greenhouse gas reporting conversion factors are provided at the link shown. The UK conversion factors are provided in a downloadable spreadsheet, and these are the ones I'm going to use to demonstrate in this video. So let's use this information to consider an example for a small organisation. Jenny's Gym Jams is a shop in La La Land that sells pyjamas. Jenny and her staff have done an audit of their sources of emissions and come up with the following list. The business's consumption of natural gas in the year was 95,849 kilowatts, with an additional 71 litres of propane used in a portable heater in winter. They also used 5 kilograms of the refrigerant gas HFC-41 to top up their refrigerator. The shop, office and warehouse used 22,586 kilowatts of electricity in the year. I'm using the UK government greenhouse gas conversion tables, and in those we also have to account for the loss of electricity in transmission through the grid, so I've added a line for that. The business consumed 14,140 litres of water in the year, and I'm going to assume that their wastewater was the same volume. Next we have plastic film to wrap the purchased clothes in. They used 1.62 metric tonnes of that, and the office used 0.3 tonnes of paper. The business purchased 2.76 metric tonnes of pyjamas for sale to customers. In terms of waste disposal, the business sent 0.07 tonnes of paper for recycling and 0.48 tonnes of general non-recyclable waste to landfill. Company staff travelled 4,000 miles on short-haul flights during the year, and business usage of a petrol SUV was 11,933 miles. The company also employed a delivery contractor whose diesel Class 2 van travelled 18,324 miles, delivering pyjamas to customers. Finally, the people at Jenny's Gym Jams realised that there are miscellaneous purchases that they cannot calculate, and they're going to add 5% of their calculated Class 3 emissions to cover these. As you can see, even a small business can have a wide range of sources of carbon emissions. Once we've made the inventory of those emissions, we need to ascertain their climate impact by looking up government conversion tables, which show each item's carbon dioxide equivalent. I'm going to use the UK government conversion tables available at the link shown. The UK government produce a downloadable spreadsheet of conversion factors, which is nicely laid out and easy to use. Let me show a few example pages from their spreadsheet. Here's the page for gaseous fuels, showing natural gas and propane marked in green. We will be using the kilograms of CO2 equivalent column for our calculation. Here's the page for refrigerants. Look how significant an impact some of these gases have on global warming. 1 kilogram of HFC-23 is equivalent to 14,800 kilograms of carbon dioxide, and a kilogram of sulfur hexafluoride has a carbon dioxide equivalence of 22,800 kilograms. Jenny's Gym Jams is using HFC-41. 1 kilogram of it is equivalent to 92 kilograms of carbon dioxide. Finally, let me just show two extracts from the pages relating to materials used in business. On the first extract we see the very high carbon footprint of clothing, plus some other items such as electrical items and some metals. In the second extract I centre on plastics, paper and board to show their varying effects. I would encourage you to download the spreadsheet from the link given and explore the information. It will help you prepare to calculate your own carbon footprint. Now we come to the calculation for Jenny's Gym Jams. I've extracted the relevant conversion factors and put them into the spreadsheet. Just look at the results. 76% of the company's emissions are Scope 3, entirely due to the huge carbon footprint of clothing. I've also highlighted the top 6 sources of emissions. Clothing is number 1, with gas consumption in the heating system second. Distribution using the diesel van is the third highest source of carbon, and electricity consumption is the fourth. The plastic film used in packaging and business use of the car tie for the last 2 places. What does this calculation tell us? Here are my key points to help you get to grips with measuring your organization's climate impact. Your organization's energy use should be easy to measure and will likely account for 25% or more of your total carbon emissions. Take regular meter readings and plan steps to improve energy efficiency. Fabrics, metals and electrical items all have a significant climate impact. Can you streamline your requirements to reduce that impact? Can you develop a more sustainable model for sourcing the items you need? Refrigerant gases have a very high greenhouse gas effect. If your organization uses refrigeration or cooling systems, ensure that they're modern and well maintained, and keep a close eye on their consumption of gases. Delivery to your customers and deliveries from suppliers to you both have a high carbon footprint. What can you do to improve the efficiency of your supply chain? Can you combine deliveries or select an approved delivery contractor to coordinate vehicle movements better? Vehicles and business travel also cause significant greenhouse gas emissions. How can you plan your travel needs better? The use of plastics in packaging and in your products and services drives up your carbon footprint. And plastic waste is bad for the environment. What alternatives can you come up with? Work towards greater recycling of your organization's waste products to reduce their climate impact. And make plans to better manage your organization's use of water and its generation of wastewater. Every organization can make a difference, and the first step is to measure your carbon footprint. This Quickstart guide has shown you how, and I hope you will take the next step and measure your organization's climate impact. Your Scope 1 and 2 emissions should be easy to measure. Your Scope 3 emissions will require more work, but several elements of Scope 3 emissions are relatively straightforward to measure. Start with them and your most significant purchases, and expand your reach as you get comfortable with the process. I wish you luck. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.